Hello and welcome to the Dead Air Dude. I'm Izzy.
I'm Raka. Welcome, Dead Air Nation.
Welcome to Dead Air Nation.
And we got a good dead air topic tonight.
Once again,
We are going to hit up
continuing our Bad Juju series. This time we're going with Raka.
the big daddy of them all, blood-sucking vampires. Where they came from, who they are, what they're all about, where are they today?
Exactly. I know you guys may scoff and laugh, whatever, but we try and we're going to bring you all the information we have to past, present, future, current, and everything in between about your favorite blood-sucking fiends. That being said, let's start it off.
Let's start off with a little bit of contemporary. They're going to work our way backwards. Guys, this is not going to be a boring history lesson, but we're going to go
Not at all.
Back in time a little bit. Actually, we're going to go very, very way back in time. But of course, everybody has notoriety stemming from Bram Stoker's Dracula, published in 1897. Right, he brought to life in books for the real first time. There have been short stories and poems and folk tales written, but he wrote an actual novel, and it's about Dracula. Now, he denies that it's based on real life Vlad Dracula or Vlad the Impaler.
Not the Impaler.
The Romania area in 1400s, 1500s, the late Ottoman Empire. But
1400s, yeah.
he did claim that in a New York Times article, February of 1896, the year before, he read a story in a periodical that there were vampires in New England, their bodies were exhumed, and their hearts cut out to prevent disease.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, one led to another, and then you build on that. And as a good writer, you create the modern day vampire.
Well, of course, the whole thing with at that time and even before that, in the ages where they had the plague, people who died of the plague, they thought that for whatever reason, anything that they could not, understand or put their finger on or were afraid of were considered supernatural, in particular vampires. And from diseases like porphyria, did I say it correctly?
Yes.
And to many others, all of a sudden, oh, you're a vampire. Chop your head off, put a stake in your heart, and pray for the best.
So the linking of a blood-sucking human deriving supernatural powers from human blood and connected with a bat actually came about in colonial times, in the age of exploration. European explorers would sail into South America and the Americans, and they'd actually run into bats that woke them up at night and attack them and bit into them. So previous to that, Europeans did not encounter bats that would attack humans and bite them. And there was always a hysteria about blood-sucking people throughout time. And so these explorers took that story back to Europe and they merged it to folktales and reality and had somehow conjured up this myth. Yeah. So we're on our trip back in time and we're going to continue to backtrack where there's stories about blood-sucking demons and spirits in basically every culture around the world. Mesopotamia, Hebrews, ancient Jews, Romans, Persians, Babylonians, Hindi text, Sanskrit text written thousands of years ago before Christ, spoke about evil demonic spirits who would suck the blood out of corpses or live people or whatever, and that's how they gain their strength, and that's how they rob your soul. So you're taking years and centuries and millennia of fear, unexplained demons, and pairing with events and unexplained and supernatural and diseases, and you formulate this myth of a vampire. And things take off. And in certain places, like in Romania, where Vlad the Impaler actually documented, took hundreds and thousands of his villagers and enemies and captives and people in his court and impaled them.
Forget one thing. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
Now,
please.
whether or not, again, we don't know because we weren't there. In 730 CE, the Baita Pachisi, again, no, forgive me with the pronunciation, a collection of 25 fables surrounding Vikram the vampire, composed in Sanskrit by the scholar Bahavuti.
Good job, sir. I'm not going to correct you.
In 1047, the first appearance of the word Upir in a document referring to a Russian prince as Upir Licky or Lichty, Lichi, or quote unquote wicked vampire. 1196, William of Newburgh's Chronicles, they record several stories of vampire-like revenants in England. And of course, in 1428, Vlad Dracula, or Vlad the Impaler, is born. Now, carry on.
I mean, this is littered all throughout history. Homer in ancient Greece.
Not big of you, the Homer Simpson, please.
Not Homer Simpson, but Homer from ancient Greece had noted about blood-sucking demons and witches in his text and writing. And for those fans out there who like to link today's graphic novels and words, the Romanian vampire name is called anybody?
Vampire?
Strigoi.
Yes, sorry. Yes, very Strigoi.
Yes. Which will be noted as a footnote later on in our episode, dissecting the strain, epic graphic novel turned movie book by Guillermo del Toro and Hogan. So we have that. But yes, you're talking about why. Well, let's pose this question, Izzy. Why throughout the world, okay, in nations, countries, cultures that have no noted interaction and connection, there was no cell phone or World Wide Web in these ancient times, they all drafted a very similar being that in the dark, right, does not like to daywalk, doesn't like to suntan, loves blood, does not discriminate what kind of A, B, C, O negative, positive, whatever it is. Yes, fear and the unexplained really is a driving factor in all this. But there's such stark commonality.
I think there has to be some truth to it. Now, look, I'm not saying you have a dude running around transforming into a bat, because all that can be broken down and how went from a bat which to a wolf, and then a wolf turns to a werewolf, which we're not even going to touch that right now. But how in Bram Stoker's does Dracula, or Vlad Dracul, whatever you want to call him, transform from a bat to a wolf to, human and vice versa. But the way I see it, I'm somewhat based within logic. If it quacks like a duck, it smells like a duck, it waddles like a duck, it's probably a duck. Now, there is something between all these stories, all of the histories, and the same thing is the vampire. Now, can it be that everyone got it wrong and it's just maybe some blood disease like porphyria, or
It's possible. Um,
they accuse these poor folks as, because I have a bunch of, I mean, have you heard about Mercy Brown?
yes,
Yeah.
go with that.
I mean, we're jumping obviously to the 1800s now. Well, Mercy Brown was born in Exeter, Rhode Island, to the daughter of George Brown in the late 1800s. Mercy died to
In
tuberculosis.
Rhode Island.
Now, most of the family also died of tuberculosis.
Yes,
She
they say of tuberculosis.
exactly. She became the scapegoat, and they said because. All right, now get this. Now look at the perception that people had back then. So obviously they're gonna believe a certain thing. I guess it was had money or whatever. So her body was buried, I guess, in a tomb above ground. Therefore, her body did not decompose. Okay, so when they exhumed the body or whatever, they're like, oh shit, her body is a freaking vampire. What the f? All right. Now you have a logical explanation for that, theoretically, but they thought what they thought. Now we'll get to crazy than that. Again, the body didn't quote unquote decay, and then the town was scared that she was a vampire. So of course, what do towns become mobs do? They cut her heart out, they burned it into ashes. Then her brother, who was sick, they fed it to her brother, who was sick at the time. And what happened? Weeks later, he dies.
Gee,
Really?
you're kidding me.
What the F? All right. Now, you figure in comparison to Mesopotamia and the 1700s, the 1400s, whatever, the 1800s was like modern freaking thing, and these guys still believe in this stuff. So,
I mean, again, let's.
I probably messed it up more than answer, to be honest. But
I mean, again, let's do the quick world tour. In China, there's something called Yangtze, um, which is loosely translated Chinese vampires, and so bodies can get reanimated due to some magic. And in ancient China, these people always had preference of being buried in their hometowns. So when a person dies, that's not in their hometown. Family members hire a sorcerer to bring the deceased member back so they can come back to their hometown to be laid to rest.
So if they don't hire a sorcerer, what happens with the body?
Good question. Maybe they wake up and go hunting, get a snack for their long journey back.
So they
Um,
oh my gosh. All right. Yeah.
Cambodia has their own version uh, vampires called I'm gonna mangle this one. Chimer but Pengalalia. Okay, I won't even touch that. But there's all over the world, the Philippines, Cambodia, Malaysia. There's all folklore about the deceased and they're no longer remnants of their human selves, and they just go around. American Indians have a very similar thing. Africa has the Ashanti people have folklore about tales of different people with vampire-like abilities. Let me touch upon something going back to the biblical roots to Judeo-Christian. I know in particular Izzy's gonna love this one. So there are actual references in the Old Testament, I believe, in Hebrew writing and whatnot, about references to Lilith, who is the progenitor.
Yes.
And I know that you love this topic, so I'll hand it off to you now. Speak a few words about our good friend Lilith.
Well, since you have it with you, why don't you start off and then I'll follow. I'll follow.
So there's Adam, there's Eve, and there's Lilith. So correct me if I'm wrong here. Lilith was the first Eve.
Yes. She
But
predated.
oversimplify it. She wasn't good enough.
Yes, exactly. She was kind of
So
like the mistake, I guess. Kind of like all right.
hey, the
So,
first floor model, right?
you know,
I mean,
odd.
let's get the
Try
kinks
again.
out.
I mean, let's ignore this one.
Yes,
We'll discontinue. I mean,
let's iron out the kinks.
there's
And Eve
first wife.
is the better, more advanced.
So
So Lilith,
yeah,
Lilith obviously being cast out as the first woman, she's pissed. She's pissed as all hell. Now Lilith has certain abilities, and I know this segues into a later episode we're gonna have, but Lilith is claimed to bear the ability to transform into an animal, a cat, or other victims. But she and her daughters, and again, this gets a little unscientific because if there's Adam, Eve, I mean, her daughters are what? Adam's kids? Regardless, her daughters drain victims of their blood.
yeah.
And in essence, become the first vampires in folklore. Well, in Jewish, Judeo-Christian tradition folklore. And this is noted in the Kabbalah. And this is noted in, I don't know, what are we up to? 5,000 years of
Yeah.
spoken language handed down.
And not only did they kind of went really overboard to the point where she supposedly subsisted on the blood of babies.
Yes.
So,
She takes the newborn's blood and draws strength and power from that. Now,
to be Adam's subordinate and banished from Eden by God himself. And yeah, she would prey on young babies and their mothers at night, as well as males. Because Hebrew law absolutely forbade the eating of human flesh or the drinking of enter of blood. Lilith's blood drinking was described as exceptionally evil. The ward of attacks from Lilith's parents used to hang
exceptionally.
on the child's cradle. Oof. All right. Yeah.
All right. So again, I just wanted to bring up some fun facts. We take the world tour, and I don't think there's a square inch of land on this planet where ancient peoples have not come up with their own version
Greece.
of a vampire.
You have Albania. You have Hungary, Iceland, Romania, of course, Ireland, Scotland, Slavic Europe, Spain, Africa, go to the U.S., Asia. I think we hit them all.
Now, let's take a look now at today's vampire, the image and powers of. Okay, they are by and large hunt at night, sleep in day. UV light, sun's rays, whatever affects them. They have a hankering for only blood.
We have six real life vampires nowadays, or supposedly modern vampires. Yeah, we have the sanguinarians, which they consume blood of others. We have the psychic vampires, which they feed off of aura or pranic energy in order to balance their chi, their aura. We have hybrids, which consume both. We have, well, I mean, these aren't necessarily vampires, but we have also others that would be within I get the hierarchy. You have blood donors who donate the blood willingly to vampires. You have blood fetishists.
Familiars?
Yeah, pretty much familiars. You have blood fetishists who use blood as a stimulant or a fetish sexually. And you have your role players who think they're vampires running around like vampire masquerade. No knock against that. Just saying, you run around
To each
with
his own.
that.
To each his own. Now, let's touch on that.
Yes.
We cannot remove the sexual component to all this. It's essential in the whole thing. In early days, I understand it explains bad things that happen at night or to loved ones or those that their blood is sucked out. I get it. Even as a form of medicine throughout the world, let's get some leeches on you and suck out the blood. Suck out the bad. Suck. But as time has grown and we get to modern times, there are teeth that penetrate and break the skin.
Yeah.
It can't get more intimate than that. You have an extension of it where you have the blood, and now you become one in exchange of bodily fluids. You become one with the other. You not rob them. You take their memories. You see their memories. You have a telepathic link.
We never said any of that.
Well, no. This is what has now transformed into today's vampire, whether it be literature or real or what is believed to be real. There is a sexual component to the whole thing because you're also under somebody's finger. You're under their spell. And so,
as a medical professional, you believe in Renfield syndrome, and B, do you believe that teeth and or fang can be strong enough to perforate the skin to the point where it can reach and break blood, in which in turn you can ingest said blood through
okay.
Into
there's very few, if any, animals out there that suck blood that way. You have the snake's teeth, the fangs that come out have an opening to bite and deliver poisons,
but they don't ingest,
but not suck and ingest. So I can't think off the top of my head any animal that can do that, nor an animal that lives off, except for leeches,
spiders, whatever,
mosquitoes.
And they just mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are, they're the most unnecessary fucking creatures on this planet or any other planet on this universe. What the hell do they do? But that's another day. But yeah, exactly. I mean, what the fuck?
So, now, but doesn't mean that you can, if a person has the powerful jaw enough to clamp down into your neck region and get to your carotid artery or any artery, and for some reason, if you're rendered immobile and you can't fight back for some reason, there's no reason why that said person can't open up a wound and through the mouth, doesn't have to be the teeth, through the mouth, start ingesting your blood.
Human beings theoretically have that kind of jaw strength to do that.
Why don't you ask Evander Holyfield?
Yeah, but hey, I've had my sister bit me once and it broke skin and I had an infection, but it never was to the point that, like, sucked the blood out of my skin. It was like,
Okay, how old was your sister at that point?
Old enough to know what the hell she was doing. I mean,
all right.
I guess.
Well, I guess my point is,
early teen.
A grown adult. Let's say a grown adult would have pretty strong muscles. Your jaw is one of your strongest muscles
Well,
in your
yes,
body.
yes,
Like
exactly.
again, Mike Tyson tore off Holyfield's ear. He could
Yeah, but
definitely
just
break
very.
his skin.
I mean, this is different than this, as you know.
I might argue this is harder. This has cartilage. There's some soft spots. There's no bone until you get to it, but in between the bone and flesh is your artery.
Touche. All right.
So it is possible. The other scientific relevance is what if you're a regular human to human, let's say there's no genetic difference. What do you get out of consuming somebody else's blood straight like that? I mean, there's blood donors, right? But blood donors, by and large, is a sterile event.
We have it all comes back to the sexual component. You have paraphilic and autovampirism. Paraphilic is obviously sexual to another, while auto is obviously you drink your own blood and you get off on that.
Well, drinking, I get it. Drinking gets a little bit dirty, nasty. However, look at the recent Russian Olympic scandal.
Oh,
Look at recent athletes today will go to unsanctioned parts of this world and unmonitored parts and blood dope. Whether it's their own blood that they store or somebody else's blood that's been checked out to be clean. And then before a competition, weeks before, they will intravenously gain more red blood cells. And they blood dope. They heal faster. They feel stronger. They added a pint or two of red blood cells. In theory, how different is that to vampirism?
like your boy, the Tour de France guy, your boy Armstrong.
Blood doping. So, but blood doping is proven scientifically to work. And what it give you? It doesn't give you superhuman strength like you're a Superman and break cylinder blocks with your pinky, but it does get you stronger than the average Joe. So there is some scientific evidence that ingestion, consumption, any way you want to figure it, any delivery system you want, taking in red blood cells in relatively big amounts gets you stronger.
Now, going back, just a quick question. I mean, we're not going to retrace everything. You know why Vlad the Impaler? It's called Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, and he impaled these bodies in these huge cylindrical, I don't know what you call them, needles, spears, and drank their blood.
Yeah. He actually drank the blood of his victim, not victim, I mean, victim, not, I mean, the people who were attacking. And he would, I guess, his castle or his whatever fortress or whatever the hell it is, he would have the. Remember Game of Thrones when they had the pikes? Basically, he would have the pikes out there and he would impale his enemies to the point, and eventually they would but alive to the point where eventually they would die. And people would say that this was crazy, and therefore, but the guy wasn't a bad dude, according to people who followed him. He was bad to everybody else.
Yeah, because none of them would say a word. But consider this. Did Vlad die of blood ingestion? He didn't get sick of it.
Die?
He didn't die of it.
No, he did not.
So it wasn't, and he documented by everybody, drank it. So
Yeah.
he might have very well actually been stronger by it. Protein is a big, big deal in your digestion, health, nutrition, whatever, right? This is total understatement. But
You're opening up a can of worms there, sir.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? That's what we do here in Dead Hair Dudes Nation. We open worm cans.
You open, yeah. You know what?
What happens? You can't build a fire. Not everybody in the world, through the history of the world, can build a fire on the spot and cook their meat. Sometimes you gotta eat that shit raw and bloody. And you know what? They give you a steak. You're good as rain. You're right as rain. You're good to go for another march into the fields, fight battles, whatever.
I think we're getting up to being path here. I mean,
Okay, so vampires today. There's a lure. Again, it's paired with obviously sexualism. It's paired with mystery. It's paired with being bad. It's paired with getting stronger. It's paired with a lot of other factors that maybe not in the traditional cinema sense, but there are some cults and some groups of people out there running around that believe in consumption of blood. Yeah, in that sense, vampires are real.
it's been going on for as long as
you can write words or actually the spoken word.
I mean, bottom line, think about it. Blood is the life, is basically what keeps you living. So, logically, if you take someone's blood,
You take their life.
exactly, you would essentially take the life force.
Well, you strengthen yours.
Yeah. I mean, a blood transfusion, you're low on blood or whatever, what happens?
So closing remarks. For what it's worth, there are vampires out there. I don't know if they mind control, if they've turned into bats, werewolves, fly, smoke, control you, come out at night. Who knows?
I have a freaking story, and I'm gonna mangle the name because I don't remember it. I thought I had the notes written. A French nobleman in the I shouldn't even mention this because I don't have the facts behind to back it up. But so anyway, go on. I mean, I'll try to remember it. You go on.
A French nobleman, what?
No. Keep what we're saying. I'll find it.
I'm scanning quickly through my notes to see if I have a French nobleman somewhere.
Jermaine.
Jermaine Jackson?
No, not Jermaine Jackson. Saint Germain. Something to that effect.
Jacques Saint-Germain. Jacques Saint-Germain, infamous Louisiana vampire.
There you go. Okay. Yes. All right. I got it. All right.
A taste of blood.
The Comte.
Okay, so
was born either 1691 or 1712 and died supposedly February 27th, 1784. He was a European adventurer with an interest in science, alchemy, and the arts. He achieved prominence in European high society in the mid-1700s. Now, many years later, they basically say that they have seen Jacques Saint Germain in New Orleans to this day, even. So,
they say he has flawless skin
yes.
and never seems to age.
The whole story came.
Eyes that pierce your soul.
It was a French nobleman who had money, super nice guy, whatever, had a party, got a courtesan, took her, had a great time. Whatever happened. Then they found her dead soon after. They're like, oh, who was she with last? Da-da-da-da-da-da. Boom. This nobleman, whatever. I guess they were on his trail. Went to his They should have
It's
stayed,
inspired.
you know, gone. Second floor, I do believe, second floor, they found this wine cellar. All the wine was mixed with
Blood.
exactly. They never saw him eat. They only drink.
Always thirsty.
And then they see pictures of him and pictures of this guy from back in the day, and they look eerily alike.
Isn't that
Handsome, elegant, wealthy, entertaining, extravagant, mysterious, and a bit curious. People preceded him, and he was soon a hit in New Orleans society. So, yeah,
isn't Interview with the Vampire based loosely on him?
you know what? That's a good, damn good question. I'm not sure, but you know what? That would make sense. So,
Which actually was a pretty darn good movie, I gotta say. Um, all right. Bottom line, sir. Believe or not believe?
do I believe there's a bat running around that can transform into a human? I mean, physically, I find that preposterous. Even just how would it even happen? I mean, a bat to a human or a wolf to a human. A wolf is better because it's bigger, but a bat to a human is impossible. How would they, unless it's a man-sized bat, transform into a human? But supposedly,
There are actually man-sized bats out there.
and when you say man-sized bat, you're talking about a 5-foot bat?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Actually, they've been noted. They are in the Philippines.
Is that correct? Then
There's 5-foot sized
never go
bats.
to the Philippines again.
They have not been noted to attack humans or eat them, but they're 5-foot bats.
I will never go there again.
um, listen,
Yes.
in the theatrical sense, is there bats like that? I agree with you. I am totally skeptical about that. Are there people out there that consume blood and like the supernatural component of it all? Yeah, without a doubt.
Dude, there's people who, which we didn't get into, you have your real life vampires who feed off of people and they freaking eat about, drink about what? There was a thing I read about a guy, New Orleans, of course, who feeds about what? Twice every 3 weeks or whatever he feeds, and he takes about a couple ounces. But supposedly the donors, they feel after the bloodletting, and the guy does, he cuts and he just drinks like, I don't even know, a couple ounces, and they feel all weak in the knees and stuff. But I don't know, it could be just speaking for show or whatever. But I believe there's people out there that, or there's something to it, yes. Do I think it's like, I want to drink you, I want to suck your blood? No. But yes, is
Guys, that pretty much wraps up our vampire episode. Remember, before you go to bed tonight, arms your steaks and have them ready
garlic.
just in case. Garlic, the crucifix, some holy water. You should have these things at the ready anyway. But
They don't believe in that stuff. With the Jewish,
then keep that Walter 58 cocked and ready regardless.
all right. Well, yeah. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode from the Bad Juju series. And if you guys have any added info we missed or want to interject and call us crazy, or give us some positive stuff, let us know. As always, please like, comment, subscribe.
And yes, special thanks to all of Dead Air Nation out there who have been liking, who have been subscribing, who have been spreading the word. We love you back. Thanks so much. Thanks a bunch. And remember, if anything, save the whales.
Always say,
I'm Rocco.
I'm Izzy. Take care. Sleep
Have a
safe.
good one.
And always, clutch that, right next to you. Take care, guys.